start backwards. So for me, when I have trouble with my goals, I kind of think about it. What do I want to achieve? What would be the steps to get there and going backwards? So I mean, when I think about, hey, I want to be governor. All right, what do I got? What goals do I have to get going backwards? So if I became governor, I probably would have had to be the state senator. Then I probably would have had to be a state rep. Then I probably would have had to be a city councilman. And I probably would have had to have a job that qualified me to be into those positions. And also, when you have trouble thinking about your goals, think about your legacy.
Good morning, good evening, good night. I am here with a very, very special guest. He is a philanthropist, author, realtor, founder of Suits for Seniors. He is actually the author of the children's book, Adventures of the Rich and Famous. Most recently, he was a mentor at the Steve Harvey's mentoring camp. My brother, my mentor, Tae Edmonds.
Oh, thank you, brother. I appreciate you having me on the show.
I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. So how you been?
Good, brother. Just organizing myself, getting my life together, really preparing for this fall coming up. You got about 200 kids I'm going to have to mentor, so we just want to make sure we set up properly to make sure they get to success.
200 kids?
About 200 kids.
Oh, my gosh. How long has Suits for Seniors been going on?
So we started November 23rd, 2015, so almost 4 years now, and we've elevated.
What did you start with? How many kids did you start with?
I think we started with 75 kids at Atlantic High School.
70? Wow, okay.
We started with a GoFundMe.
I expect nothing less than big.
So, yeah, it was a challenge. That first one was, to me, it was horrible. The kids loved it. Parents loved it. But to me, I was like, wow, what was this? But great learning experience.
So throughout the whole journey of Suits for Seniors, what has kind of been the easiest thing for you and what's been the hardest?
I think the easiest is connecting with the kids. That's the fun part of it, when you got to go to class and teach them about leadership and entrepreneurship and how to avoid the mistakes you made. The hard part is getting that money. You understand? We live in Palm Beach County, so it's about 5,000 nonprofits in Palm Beach County. So it's about 5,000 people competing for the same pool of money. Building those relationships is super hard, but it's been super successful so far.
How have you attacked building those relationships?
That's a great question. Simply, I got outside of my comfort zone. I went to places and events that I never thought I would go. I connected with people that I probably would have never talked to if I didn't have a nonprofit. So it was just being uncomfortable, going up to people, approaching them, shaking hands. And sometimes they were the person who can give funds, or they were the person that can introduce me to somebody that can get the funds.
And I know in these situations, it's not a lot of people who look like us, right?
Oh, not at all.
So how do you navigate that, being like sometimes the only black person in the room, or everybody kind of looking at you like, who's this guy?
90% of the time, the only black guy, I'm always the youngest person in the room. And you just kind of get comfortable being that person, because people, one, they want to know what you're about. Are you young and vibrant, intelligent? So sometimes it's best to just sit in the room and see who the players are and make your decisions on who you speak to, how you speak to them. It's very critical that we get more people who look like us in those rooms, because it's cool to say you're the only one sometimes, where the case may be, but it is a lonely game when you are the only one.
Yeah, that's got to be tough.
It's very tough.
Got to be a lot of stress too.
It's very uncomfortable sometimes, trying to build conversation with people that you may not relate to whatsoever, that has never been through any of your experiences. And maybe supporting people that you don't even support. You still have to be comfortable building a relationship with them.
With that stress, is it kind of like there's kind of like two different Tays, or is it the same Tay all the time?
I think in college there was two different Tays. Okay. I think I kind of grew out of it and kind of just adjusted to it and decided to be one person. You can say, because in college we was like, hey, you want to be a professional, but you always want to have a fun lifestyle. And you had to separate it in college, but now it's kind of like you don't even have time to be that other person or have fun or be at parties or just do the things you did in college. It's not even in your brand anymore.
And just to let the people know, what college did you go to?
Of course, the greatest school out there, Florida Atlantic University.
Who?
Go Owls, baby.
Go Owls, go Owls. But that brings up another interesting topic. I know that coming to college, you weren't the same Tay that you were when you left, right?
Man, coming to college, I was so ratchet when I first got to college.
Not ratchet.
No, ratchet. If there's a word ratchet, worse than ratchet, that would have fitted me too. I remember being a freshman walking around with my shirt off on campus, just walking around campus. And that was normal to me, because everybody where I was from in Titusville, that's what they did. And not having a shirt on was just like having a shirt on technically for us. So, I mean, that was our culture. But it did not mesh well with Boca Raton's culture.
That makes sense.
Yeah, not
That's
at
a
all.
totally different,
Totally different world.
totally different world. So was there like a defining moment where you just kind of like switched, or was it kind of like acquired, like little things here, little things there,
I
all at
think
once?
joining PBM, Progressive Black Men Incorporated, I think that was super influential for me because now I wasn't just it wasn't just about me. Right? I had 7 other people that if I made a bad decision, it reflected on everybody. But I think one of the monument turning points was when I ran for president for PBM, and no one ran against me, right?
Right.
So when it came down to voting, there's 8 people in the room. I won, but I won like 5-2, right?
Wait, what?
So that's it was crazy, right? So I'm running for president and nobody runs against me, but I only win 5-2, right? So that means I didn't have an opponent, but 2 people voted
Oh
against
my
me.
gosh.
Like
I
what?
know you were looking at those other people like,
Like who?
like,
Who? So I mean, I think that was an influential moment because I realized that I had so much progress to go to become the person I wanted to be, and I wasn't right about all the thoughts that I had. I wasn't right about the leadership that I thought was good. So it changed my perspective a lot.
Mhm. Throughout your life, right?
Hmm
Do you figure that you've been the same Tay just in different circumstances with new knowledge,
mm
or have you become a totally different person? Like back in Titusville, were you kind of still
mm
on the same mentality, doing things bigger and better, or
mm.
did something change?
Well, it's tough. I've always felt like I was a leader. I just felt like I was leading people in a bad direction. Or when I was in high school, I was being a leader in class because people paid attention to me and followed what I did. But I was cracking on teachers, right? So I was leading in the wrong direction. And people always say, hey, you're a leader. You can do this, you can do that. But I didn't know what to do with it. So I think over the years, new knowledge, new mentors, new environment all shaped the person who I became. I don't think I could ever became this person in Titusville, Florida. It had to be here in Boca Raton, where I was exposed to influential black leaders, black men who were just making a change. I would have never saw that in Titusville. So I think again, the environment, mentors, and just experience evolved me.
If you would have went to like FIU
Ooh,
to FAM, because I know you got accepted to FAM as
yeah.
well, do you think you would have been even kind of on the same path, or do you
I
think
don't
you
think
would?
so.
No.
I don't think so. I think honestly, well, 2 different reasons. I have nothing against HBCUs. I think we gotta fund them more. Make sure we give them adequate amount of funding compared to all the PWIs out here across the board. But everybody in Titusville went to FAMU. So if I would have went to FAMU, I just would have hung around the same circle and continued to do the same different things. I believe coming to FAU, it allowed me to stand out. Whereas if I would have went to FAMU, I might have just blended in as every other black male on campus. While at FAU, we're a smaller group, so it allows you, if you have a special niche, that you can stand out and do what you got to do. So for my niche in college was wearing suits every day,
Right.
right? All the way from like sophomore year to graduation, wear a suit every single day, no matter what. At FAMU, all their business students wear suits to school. That's something that's normal. I don't think I would have been as successful in a different location. So just like when you're in business, all about location, location, location.
Right.
I just built a niche by location.
Mm,
So
I
that was
like
the
that.
blessing.
I
Yeah.
like that. It's like some things in life, just God kind of pushes us,
Right.
gives us a little nudge, like
Never know
no,
why
do this,
sometimes.
and yeah, you never know why, and it kind of just all pans out.
All pans out.
You'll look back and like, oh, that's why I went through that.
Yeah.
That's why I met that person.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I stopped talking to that person.
Mm-hmm. That's why you stop talking to that person. Man, that's a huge one.
Right?
That's huge.
Changing your environment.
Relationships are huge.
For sure. Relationships. So the relationships that you had
Mm-hmm.
in Titusville, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or even in college, those people still think that you're the same person back then, right?
I don't
Why
think
not?
so. Because it's the way people have started to perceive me, or I guess they have bought into the image I portray on social media, I guess, to the point that they can't see me as what I used to be sometimes, right? Like I want to dap somebody up, but they want to give me a professional handshake,
Got you.
right? So I'm
Right.
like, hey, brother, like I ain't even got no suit on. We chilling right now. So like dap me up, give
They
me a
feel that
hug.
presence. They feel that
Yeah.
presence.
So I mean, sometimes I think they say your reputation walks in before you do.
Mhm.
So sometimes I guess that's the case. And people just see this one image of me now. So I'm trying to switch it up. I try not to wear suits every day now.
More relatable.
I'm trying to connect.
Yeah.
So I've been wearing suits for the past 4 years every single day. So trying to switch it up
Trying to switch it up a little
a
bit.
little bit.
But I mean, that goes to how hard you work.
Yeah, the branding,
You branded yourself a certain way, and you put a lot into that,
a lot into it.
and now you have the luxury
Yeah.
of taking a step back. But I said that last question because I know when you do make a change, and for some of the listeners, when they do make a change,
Mhm.
people are still going to try to pull them back in that direction. So, what would you say to somebody who might go back to an environment that they were in that they kind of transcended from or ascended from?
I would say, I know it may sound bad, but isolate yourself. You can be in any environment you want to, and it's your choice to be a part of that environment. You can sit at the house and actually read and get better to move yourself out of it. Or you can say, hey, you know, I'm actually going to go chill at the corner store with everybody. Since everybody else chilling out there, let me go chill out there. Yeah, I mean, that's what we did in Titusville. That's why I use that example, because that was the thing to do. Go chill at the corner store. And that's all we doing. We just standing there,
Just
like
standing
just
there. It
watching
sounds
cars
crazy, right?
drive by. Like that
It
was the
sounds
thing
crazy.
to do, though. So I mean, and we all could have been inside reading a book on Think and Grow Rich. How do we get out of this environment? So it's your choice to assimilate to the environment around you.
Right.
If you have the wherewithal, if you've been to college, if you know more than what you're exposed to, I mean, it's your responsibility to fight for what you're trying to get to.
That knowledge of growing and learning,
Mhm.
it's just so weird looking back on the things you used to do or the people you used to hang out with. You're just like, what was I thinking? What was I doing? What was I even there for?
We all wanted to be cool.
Right.
We all want
Oh
to be
my
cool.
God.
That's it.
Yeah.
We all want attention. We want girls to be attracted to us. We want to say like we the man in college. Like that's what we all going for as men, at least. But we never think about the bigger picture of finances and having a stable base. Blowing money seems cool when you're young. Then you think about, dang, I blew a couple thousand, or I blew that what's that? What's the thing? The money they give you from FAFSA, the refund check.
Yeah, refund check.
Like,
Oh,
what?
man.
Imagine if I would have kept every refund check and just put like at least half of it away, and just waited till I just collected it after college. I would have paid some of my school loans back.
Right.
You feel me?
For sure.
But we ain't thinking about it. We thinking about, yo, I gotta be fly so I can get this check.
I mean, but that comes with growing up
Mm-hmm.
and understanding yourself and understanding who you really are.
Oh no, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No.
Why not?
Because I think it's about, you saying it's growing up. So you saying as you mature, you kind of.
Because I remember hearing J. Cole said it takes somebody getting something to know that they don't want it, especially if they've been wanting it their whole lives. When you get that money, you want to stunt. You have to stunt so that you know that stunt isn't what you want to do.
I just feel like it's all about how you raised and what you're exposed to. I feel like, yeah, for most of us, we grow up, we want money, cars, clothes, and hoes. That's what's preached to us.
Right.
Right. And money, we not always want money in the right sense or right form. And we're not always giving the right opportunities to make money. So some cultures, some families come from a standpoint where they get to mentor their kids and tell them, hey, I know you're 5 years old, I know you're 10 years old, but you need to be looking at the stock market, right? That should be your main focus. How to fluctuate your money to get more money from stocks, right? Create a business. I met this boy that was 13 years old at the Steve Harvey camp. But he's selling socks. But he made like $1.5 million off of selling socks. 13 years old. And this is the thing that killed me. He was like, I'm 13 years old, but I've been doing this for 5 years. I'm like, wait, Jit, you've been doing this since you're 8? Like, what? And it was just like, if someone would have inspired us, our youth that look like us, to do it, we'll be focusing on making money and having girls come to us, and rather than spending money and going to girls.
Chasing girls.
Right.
How has your understanding of money changed?
I realized that, unfortunately, I had one of the greatest moms in the world, but because of her love so much, I didn't realize the circumstance that we were truly in.
Right. A lot of times they'll say, oh, don't worry about that. This grown folks business.
Grown folks business.
Hey, you don't need to, you be a kid.
Yeah. You don't realize, one, how much money they are paying and sacrificing for you particularly, and two, you don't realize how much money you don't have. I mean, I thought I was like middle class in Titusville. Like, okay, I'm straight. You know, we got a house and stuff. It's 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, whatever the case may be. You come down to Boca, I mean, their 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom is totally different. Totally different. It's just two separate types of houses.
Right.
And I think you realize that, one, growing up, sometimes people say money is for bad people. People with money, they do bad things with it.
Right.
You realize that's not true. Money is for the people who worked for it and got it, and
right.
just continue to get it. So you just take a new perspective of how money can give you access to all the things you wish you wanted growing up. And that's the thing. Money gives you access. It doesn't make you happy, but it gives you access to say, I can pay for my kid to go to college. I can pay for my car. I can pay for a business for my child. So that's all it is. I didn't know how much access I was missing without that money.
So through your experiences, you've been to Boca, you've been in these rooms.
Mm.
Did you see like the how the sausage was made? I guess. What is something like you could tell us about how the sausage is made in that background?
Everybody does business with their friends.
Mm.
Straight up. People only do business with who they like. There's no people in the contest, people who have like lotto and stuff where you think if you do a proposal, if you think if you do something, you just gonna get it. That's not how it works at all, bruh. Like, it's if you're my friend, you will get a check. If you're not my friend, I'm not even gonna open up your email. Behind closed doors, you have to be friends with people at the top.
You have to play the game, I guess.
You, yeah. It's not an option. If you don't play the game, you're not in the game. If you're not at the table, you're on the menu, essentially. So it's just like you have to know who the power players, or we call them power brokers, are, or you're just gonna be left to the side. That's just how it works, especially with money. You ain't giving it to just randoms.
With you getting into these rooms, you had to know somebody like you just said.
Mhm.
Who were your mentors to get you into these rooms?
I was fortunate enough to work in government straight out of college. And I was working at the highest level of state government, which is the Florida House of Representatives. And then we moved to the state Senate. So I was able to just cultivate relationships with CEOs, business leaders, everybody who was somebody. I was just fortunate to be in that position. And that kind of helped me cultivate relationships, a brand, respect, enough to be introduced to other people who had money, or just to be able to walk up to someone and make a relationship when they say, or they'll be open to actually speaking with me, because people can be very rude.
Oh yeah.
Especially if you're a young black male, 24, 25 years old, like, hey, I have a nonprofit, you should cut me a check. They're like, what? Like, it doesn't. So you have to have some type of gatekeeper, mentor, let you into the door. If not, it's very, very tough.
And I like how you said it like it was so easy, like to just get a mentor. How did you find that mentor?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what a lot of people have a lot of trouble with, finding a mentor and actually talking to them. What do you talk about? Like, how do you become their friend? Like,
I believe, first of all, you have to decide exactly what you're going to do in life to even get a mentor. People just, they say they want a mentor, but don't know for what. I want somebody to teach me something and I make money. Like, that's not how it works. My mentor was in politics because I wanted to be a politician. So I found the only black government official that was in Palm Beach County, and I met him at an event. And when I met him, it's not about, you never tell them who you are or like what you can. Like, people come off, when people meet somebody, they just start telling them, hey, I went to FAU, I got this degree, I'm this, I'm that, I got these awards. But people never want to hear about you. What you have to do to get a mentor, or make any relationship, is ask questions and make them talk more than you talk. People like people who talk less than them, right? So I'm just dead serious. Everybody wants to talk about themselves.
no, it makes sense.
So when you meet someone, it's like, hey, what inspired you to get to this point in your life? Hey, what obstacles did you face? Hey, do you even have mentors? Hey, have you ever had a mentee before? That's like the last question, the kicker. Like, hey, have you ever had a mentee before?
That's you creeping in there. You creeping in there.
No, you haven't. Hey, I would love to be your first one.
That is a great way to do it.
Yeah,
that is a great way to do it.
It's hard to say no to someone that does that. Like, dang, you gonna do like, nah, bro, yeah, I can't mentor you. Like, so once you like make them comfortable with you by asking them questions, then you kind of creep that mentor question in.
Right. Now, when you go into this mentoring relationship, when does it switch from being a business mentor to like kind of like a friendship, or does it ever switch?
I don't want it to switch. I don't want to. Some of my mentors, like, well, the state senator, he became a friend of mine, but like most of my mentors, they're just mentors. Like, it's just a role or boundaries we have, so we understand that this relationship has purpose, right? We're friends because if you sick, I'm sick. Like, I might call and check up on you, but it's about you're mentoring me so I can get to a certain destination. So I have a mentor for stocks. Like, so when me and him meet, we say, hey, how's life been? You're good. You're alive. Great. So let's talk about the next upcoming stock that's going to boom. Is it going to be Uber? Is it going to be Lyft? Which one should we invest in? So it's all purposeful, right? So that's the goal of it. Make sure it's purposeful.
No friendships. That's basically what he's saying.
Man, just be careful with friendships.
Right.
Friendships are, they can be deadly. You know, friends are great if you guys are going in the same direction, right? But sometimes your friends can be your biggest downfall, because sometimes they can absorb you in situations that you weren't even supposed to be in, right? Mm-hmm. Somebody lost their job and now they trying to raise money to pay their rent. Like,
right.
Like, what, bro? supposed to be responsible, right? But you got to be a friend and kind
You
of
have
a
to be a
check,
friend, yeah.
right?
So knowing those boundaries, you
Yeah,
can't be
knowing them boundaries.
friends to everybody
Can't be friends with everybody.
because somebody's gonna be in trouble, and you're going to have to
Mhm.
take some of your resources to give it to them. If you have too many people like that, you're not gonna have anything.
My kids know that I'm their mentor and not their friend. They do have personal situations. Like I remember I had a student. His mom couldn't afford groceries, right? As a mentor, I was like, man, let me get you a job. Let me connect you somewhere so you can get a job, so you don't always have to rely on me. As a friend, I was like, let me give you $100 so you can go grocery shop, so you can have food in your house for your family. But if you continue to be that friend, they're gonna continue to ask for that money. You're gonna ask for those favors. You're gonna enable them, and so you got to have that clear distinction. I'm your mentor, and I want to see you get to different milestones in your life rather than giving you just, I don't want to say handouts, but giving you things that won't necessarily help you in the long run.
Right, enable you in the long run, pretty much, because then they become dependent on you. They expect it from you. Oh, he's supposed to do this.
Yeah.
When in reality, you're supposed to kind of pull yourself up.
And that's what's wrong with our culture. I don't want to say our culture, but our society. People think, or they get accustomed to people helping them, and they feel like now they deserve that, and they get hooked on it to the point they don't know how to get off of it.
Wow.
So people get addicted to handouts, unfortunately.
That is true. And so you deal with a lot of kids, right? And a lot of different personalities in a lot of different places. Some of these places have a lot of violence. Some of these places, these kids probably have things going on at home, things going on at school. How do you kind of help them along that way mentally?
I think I've been blessed to have enough bad experiences in my life that I can relate to any kid in any situation.
Wow, that's powerful.
I mean, I know it's not the greatest thing, but I mean, I've been through a lot of turmoil. I've been turmoil with my mom and her family, with domestic violence, mental health in my family, sickness from my grandma dying with AIDS, or my mom being a foster child. So it's just like anything they can talk about, I'm going to be able to relate to somehow. So again, when the kids talk, I'm always listen to them, give them advice. But I hope when they look at me, they see me as a mirror, so they can say, okay, he went through that. He got over it. And I'm not even over everything. Like my whole relationship with my dad, I'm not always over that, right? So I can always relate to kids about that. I want them to see that you can get over any trial and tribulation that you have, because everybody has a story. And if you're just going to be that one kid that is hung up on your particular story, it makes it very hard for you to succeed in life.
Right.
Because, I mean, people ain't got no legs, and out here succeeded. I like, real talk. I met a lady with no legs. I mean, at the Steve Harvey camp, right? And she's a motivational speaker. She's an author. And I watch her climb the steps, right, with no legs, right? And I was just like, people can't make excuses to me about doing something.
No excuses.
So I just thought it's powerful.
Right. And one of the people I follow on social media, Gary Vee, he says he understands, and it's sad that people go through these things. But life doesn't care. The stock market doesn't care. The business world doesn't care. You just have to get through it.
Gary Vee's also white too. So I mean, I hear you. Like,
but at the same time,
he's right.
He's right.
He's 100% right.
He's right.
But hey, his dad had a wine business. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah, it kills me like when people say, "Oh man, my dad just gave me $1 million and I had to, I flipped it into 60." Yeah. It's like, I mean, I get it, but
like, bro, like,
you start off with $1 million.
You know that daddy got a wine business.
Nobody,
bro. Like, so he comes from like, it's
different.
I love what he's preaching because he's right. He's honest. Like, get your ass up and do it. He's right. You come from a whole different circumstance. You gotta. That's why I hate motivational speakers, because I hate them because they're tour guides.
That is interesting that you say that. Okay, go ahead.
They're tour guides. They'll be like, "Hey, get your ass up, go do something." Do what? Now what? What business should I invest in? What stock should I invest in? Like, don't tell me to go do something. Show me how to do it, right? So I hate motivational speakers. E.T., I hate them. I think they're good people. I think they have great intentions. To me, motivation don't do anything. You can tell me get up all you want, but if you don't show me how to get up and go get money, then what are you doing for me?
This is true.
Right?
For me, it's more like a starter. And not to say that, and I do say you have to have that motivation in yourself. If you don't have it in yourself, it's kind of like lighting a wet fire.
Right.
Like it's just not going to get going. But I do have that motivation in myself, and they kind of just start me like just that little flicker, you know what I mean? And it's like, and then it keeps going. Like I listen to Steve Harvey every morning,
Mhm.
and it kind of like just pushes me on my way, and just he gives me little tokens here and there. You know what I mean?
I agree. They give me sound bites to say to my kids as well. No, seriously. They they
I
they
love it.
they say some real stuff like, "Hey, I could take that and I could tell my kid that." But I just want people to motivate, but also show you the way.
Right.
So that's like what my whole nonprofit is for. It's like I can tell you, yeah, you need to go and buy a house because that's the way to be financially stable. But how do you do that?
Right.
Right? So I gotta show you, hey, you need to make sure you get your credit score up, right? And not just get it up. You need to open a bank account. You need to get a credit card and just pay only gas, and your credit score will raise, right? I gotta show you how to do it, the steps along the way. And now you gotta get a job. Make sure your next 2 year has good income that you show in your tax return so you can get a house, right? I'm not just saying go get a house.
Go get a
Go
house.
get you
Get
need a
up.
house.
You can do it.
So it's just like, man, if you're gonna motivate me, just show me how. Don't just talk to me.
Those other show me 1, 2, 3, but then show me 4, 5, 6 after that.
Show me everything.
Right.
Right.
They do kind of lead you up this like mountain, and then
You just hype. You just
like,
hype. It's
okay,
like,
I'm up here now,
what?
and then you just fall off.
That's it. So
This
I mean,
is true.
without a plan, I mean, it's horrible.
Right.
Yeah.
With your nonprofit,
Mhm.
because I know in college, the people who wanted to have nonprofits, it was a lot of them,
Mhm.
but they kind of dwindled off.
Mhm.
What made you continue, and what was kind of the process of starting your nonprofit?
First and foremost, it's hard. All right. Again, it's 5,000 nonprofits, and I would probably say it's maybe 100 black ran nonprofit out of the 5,000. So
Wow.
it is difficult. You said what was the process of starting?
Yeah, what's the process like from I guess even calling it Suits for Seniors
Right.
and then finding out what the whole process was?
So at first, I didn't even want a nonprofit. I wanted a clothing line, right? Original Gentleman. That was supposed to be the
OG?
OG. That was the start of everything. I was like, hey, I'm gonna start with pocket squares. Then I'm gonna start selling them. And I'm like, I'm gonna start suits. And I'm gonna start selling them. But I was like, man, I like suits because it just makes me feel confident. So what if I just gave kids suits and they just started feeling confident, right? So that was the initial thought, and it took a lot of quiet time with myself, just in my room by myself, not talking to anybody. Like, God, what am I supposed to do, right? I feel like I'm a leader. I did PBM. I was very successful as president. Like, what is my next phase in life?
What do I do all this for?
And I wanted to know what I was supposed to do in my life and what the only talent I have is talking. And people got to figure out what their talent is and figure out how they can monetize their talent. And got to be realistic with themselves, what their talent is. So I can't do anything else but talk. I figure if I can put my passion of having a suit on and my love for talking together and make something out of it, I would be happy. So that's how Suits for Seniors came about. And it started with just a GoFundMe. We raised $10,000 over 3 months with 200 donors. I thought it was crazy because I ain't like, people believe in this? Like,
Wow.
what? Like,
Don't say no to yourself before.
yeah. I mean, I thought it was crazy. Like, when I first opened up, 10 people donating, I was like, wow. So it's always good to believe in yourself no matter what.
Right.
And you never know who is going to love your idea. So that's how it started. I mean, you go through the process of becoming a 501c3, registering with the state, Department of Revenue, IRS, and get all your legal requirements done, taken care of. And I just shot into Atlantic High School. And it was crazy because they just gave me an opportunity. I was like, hey, I'm a new nonprofit. I want to do a program here. And they were like, sure.
75 kids.
75 kids. Think about it. What is the likelihood of
That's crazy.
a 24-year-old black kid coming in here and say, I want to talk to all your high school kids and do a program for them for a week, right? I've never seen that done before. I've never had that happen in my high school career. So I thought it was very special that these are white-led schools letting me into their school to do a program that I just created. So I was like, God got to just be blessing me. So this got to be right. If it could just happen like this, if it's this easy, if it's this natural, then like this is what the path God wants me to do. And it kept going and going. And now we're at 19 schools, 700 kids. Right?
Yeah, you're up in Jacksonville now, right?
Jacksonville,
My gosh.
Miami.
Was that the one defining moment to let you know I'm doing what I need to do? This is what God gave me? Or was it something later on?
The check for $10,000.
The check for $10,000. Now
Like,
that'll wake you up.
yeah,
That'll
like,
wake you up. Okay.
So it was cool. He was getting like $100, $50. Then somebody shot me $1,000. Like, wow, I made it. Right. Then a grant came in. It was like, we want to give you $10,000.
Wow.
In your dream.
Do you remember where it was from?
Yeah, Quantum Foundation.
Quantum
They still give me money. They still give me
Wow.
10, 15,000 each year. right? And now people give me like 15. I have contracts with people that give me 15, 20,000 for the next 4 or 5 years. So it's definitely been a blessing. Just building those relationships. So the police,
Building those $10,000
yeah,
relationships.
so
Yeah.
police give us 15,000 each year for the next 5 years.
I did see on your Facebook you were hugging the
Chief of police,
right?
Mhm.
How did that picture happen?
He came to our graduation ceremony at Palm Beach Gardens because they give us the money, right? They give us
Go with the money.
they give us 15,000 each year, and not only do they give us money, they have character and heart, right? So some people in this world you will meet and they'll be like, I want to make a change, or we want to help those kids who are under resourced, but they're just saying it because it sounds good. But then you have people like the chief of police who's like, man, tell me what you need and we'll do it and make sure it happens. So not only are we gonna give you a check, if those kids want to be police officers, we'll take them into the academy and they can become police officers for free, right? Not only that, I'm gonna give your kids scholarships for college, right? So if they get pulled over and they feel uncomfortable, here's my cell phone. Like that's going out your way to
Wow.
make sure someone's safe and feels comfortable. Not every police officer is gonna do that, right?
Definitely not.
Definitely not.
Definitely.
And not the chief of police because he's the head guy. So you can't, if you do anything and the chief hears about it, you know, that's your butt. So, I mean, it's very special to have those type of relationships.
That's amazing. And in wrapping up, if somebody's having a hard time with accomplishing a goal, what would be the one thing you would tell them to keep them going?
Start backwards. So for me, when I have trouble with my goals, I kind of think about it. What do I want to achieve? And what would be the steps to get there and going backward? So, I mean, when I think about, hey, I want to be governor, all right, what goals do I have to get going backwards? So if I became governor, I probably would have had to be the state senator. Then I probably would have had to be a state rep. Then I probably would have had to be a city councilman. And I probably would have had to have a job that qualified me to be into those positions. And also, when you have trouble thinking about your goals, think about your legacy. I try to always add that into everything I'm talking about now. Just think about, 40 years from now, what do you want your kids to say about you, right? Or when you are getting buried, what do you want them to say about you? I just know when I have a child, I don't have kids yet, but when I have a child, he's going to say, my dad has a book, so I'm supposed to be an author. My dad was in politics, so I need to be politically engaged. My dad was a realtor, so I need to flip homes, right? So you got to think about what do you want your kids to say about you and what you want your history book to say about you.
I love it, man. I love it. I like how we went through your whole journey, your ups and downs, and you also tied it back to what you're doing now with the kids. You can show them exactly how it's what you've been through and help them out in the future. I really love that, man. And I want to thank you for joining me on the Speak Up podcast.
I love that, man.
Thank you. It took a while, but we got it now.
It's good.
But thank you and have a good day, man.
You too, brother.
Appreciate it.